Dear devotees and friends, this Wednesday evening we will be reading from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the Panchama Veda, and we will discuss on what Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna teaches. Let us begin with the stotra that we usually do. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kabibhiriritam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam srimadatatam bhuvi grinanti e bhurida janaha. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, the Master is giving the report that happened April 6, 1885. He has given that date, that recorded that particular date. That was April 6, 1885. He is mentioning Sri Ramakrishna sat in the drawing room. It is 736th page of the English translation by Swami Nikhilananda ji. And in the publication, Bengali publication, the original Kathamrita, there is another, the description that is there, description by the Master Mahasaya himself. I don't think that the Swami translated that particular portion. It's a one page. There he is expressing how things happened, etc. Now we are reading from this page 736, April 6, 1885. Sri Ramakrishna sat in the drawing room of Balaram's house, talking to him. Now this particular place where Sri Ramakrishna used to go and sit and take rest, that has become a shrine. And the name of the building has become Balaram Mandir. It is in Bagbajar, in the North Calcutta. It's a very famous place. It was a very hot day and long past 3 o'clock. He had come to Calcutta to see some of his young disciples and also to visit Devendra's house. Devendra, another devotee. Master to him, I gave my word. Now this is a very important statement, we can say, a sentence, an advice. I gave my word. Now Sri Ramakrishna, it was a very hot day. He could say, no, I won't go, because coming from Dakshinesha and either crossing by boat with the Ganga or taking a carriage and coming all the way is a really long journey. So Sri Ramakrishna could say no, but he said, no, I gave the word. He begins, I gave my word that I would be here at 3 o'clock, so I have come. But it is very hot. Friends, I gave my word, I feel that is the religion. The religion is keeping the promise. If anyone, a human being, giving a promise, that should be kept, and that is religion. In the name of religion, we do so many things, but we forget what we should practice. This is Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And in his life, in some other places also, we have seen that he said to a neighbor that I will come to your home today, but he forgot. And the neighbor also didn't remind it to him. And when he was going to bed, suddenly he remembered, I gave the word that I should go, but I didn't go. At that time, he took a lantern because the road was dark. And those who have visited the Dakshineshwar, you must have seen from there, from Sri Ramakrishna's room, coming out the main gate and then going to the neighbor's house. It's a long walk. But he, in that dark night, he went alone with a lantern, and by that time those people, they have closed their door and they are sleeping. he placed his holy feet on that and said, "Oh, I came." By that way also he used to keep his word. Why? Keeping the word, keeping the promise is religion. So we know in the Kathopanishad also, there the Nachiketa, that young boy, when he saw that his father is not keeping the words, his father promised that he will give all his wealth to the Brahmins, to the rishis, to the holy people, but instead he was giving only the old, the cows to the in as gift, but the good cows he was hiding, and other wealth also he was hiding. Though he declared sarvadana, that he will be giving everything, all the properties, to save the father for as because that was a sin, to save the father from that, the son Nachiketa went to his father, and instead of giving him advice, "Father, this is not good, you should keep your word," because a son is not supposed to say like that to his father, he said, "Father, I too as a son is your wealth, to whom you are going to give me." That's a beautiful way, the picture, when we read that, we can visualize that picture. The father, naturally, so many people have come, he is busy, he is going and talking to the people and handing over the cows to them. And about the cows, the Rishi in the Upanishad, they are giving the description, Dugdha Doha Nirindriya, that they are not going to give the milk anymore. What that those people are going to do with those cows? They will have to only feed and look after the cows, but not getting the milk. So Nirindriya, they are not going to give birth to the calf and all this. This boy is going on asking the father, whom you are going to give me? Then Ditiyam, Tritiyam, again and again, when he was pestering, when he was asking, the father, perhaps we can visualize, with the father being angry, the father said, Mrityave tva dadamiti. Let you go to the abode of death. Then Swami Vivekananda, he is mentioning, at that moment, that boy, he is thinking, I am not the worst. Why the father asking me to go to the abode of death? Bahuna memi prathama, bahuna memi madhyama, kim siddhi yamasya kartavyam yanmayat karishyati. The Vivekananda takes his Vedanta from here, self-confidence. The Nachiketa is not boasting. He is not showing that he is proud, but he is saying that I am among many, I am the first. Of course, among many others, I am the second, but never the worst. Why the father? So this is the self-confidence. Then at that time again we find that his father is saying that it is not necessary, you should not go, I was angry, so I said like that. Then the Nachiketa is quoting like this, and he is telling, Anupashya yatha purve, pratipashya tatha pare, shashyamiva marta jayate, shashyamiva jayate punaha, shashyamiva marta pachyate, shashyamiva ajayate punaha. Yeah. So this, like the blade of grass, like those things, again and again taking birth and then dying and again growing, is that the life? Anupashya yatha purve. Look at your ancestors. They never broke their promises. Pratipashya tatha pare. Now if you start doing like this, then your next generations, they will also follow you. Then where will be the human qualities? Once you say you must keep the word, according to Swami Vivekananda, he used to say, Marat ka baat, hathi ka dant. That means the people, the human being giving the word means if they must keep that. Like once the tusk come out of the elephant, it never goes back. Marat ka baat, hathi ka dant. That he is the human being who can keep his promise. Keeping the promise is religion. And again we find in the Ramayana also, Raghukula riti sada chali aaye, prana yau baru bachan na jaye. In the Upanishad we find that thing. In the Ramayana also we find, in the Itihasa, Ramayana is the Itihasa, there also we find when the father, he was naturally overwhelmed by hearing that the son, he has to keep the promise because he gave the word to his wife. And now the wife is asking the Ram should be banished. You know the story. So then the father, he was not ready to keep his words. Then the son, that's Sri Ramachandra, he was hardly 16 years or 17 years by that time. And he is telling his father. So this is the tradition of the Raghu dynasty, that when we give the word, when we promise, we must keep the promise. We never break it. For that, if we have to die, then we'll die. That is also welcome. But we'll never break the promises. We have to keep the promises. Raghukula riti sada chali aaye, prana yau. Even if we die, bachan na jaye, that we cannot break it. So that is the tradition. That is called the culture. That is called religion. So this, sometimes we are confused what is religion. We only the external thing that we do, we go to the temple, we offer something to the temple, and we think that is religion. Maybe sometimes we are fasting, sometimes we are giving in charity. Of course those are good things. That boost up our morality and broaden our mind, our thought, that's good. But the main thing, keeping the promises. And in Ramayana again we find that when the Ramachandra, in the Valmiki Ramayana, the translation of the Valmiki Ramayana done by one Mr. Sen, that there I was reading that when the Ramachandra, he went into the jungle and he made the Sarabhanga Rishi. The Sarabhanga, he talked with Rama, and then afterwards he left the body and went into Brahmaloka. He was a very pious type of person. Then the other, the rishis who were around, like the Balakilla, Vaikhanasa, then Suprakala, Patrahara, they're all famous rishis. They came to meet the Rama over there in the hermitage of Sarabhanga. When they are discussing with the Sri Rama, they were telling, "O Rama, you were aware that if the king who receives 1/6 of the people's income as tax does not protect his subject, he incurs great sin. The Raja Dharma, the Raja, the administrator, who has taken the responsibility, that he should perform his own duty. He need not to do anything else." So that is called keeping the promise. When a person is accepting that office and he is taking the oath, nowadays in the modern society and the mostly democratic countries, there is no king, of course, but they become president or the prime minister, the administrative head, they take the oath. Oath, taking the promise, keeping the hand, touching their holy book, the constitution of the country, and they are taking oath that I am going to give the best service to the people. What is that? Protecting their interest, protecting their life, giving the all best thing to them. And if he is breaking that, and how he is doing that? He is charging the taxes, the people earning going to him. Even after that, if he is not doing, keeping his promises, then he is committing sin. And there, in that conversation, this rishi is told the king need not to do any extra separate spiritual practices. If he is simply doing his swadharma, the responsibility that he is supposed to do, then what will happen? Then he said, they are telling that he will get 1/4 of all the holy people's spiritual practices, the benefit of that. And he will go after death to Brahmaloka, the last and the highest, the sphere. So this is Swadharma. And about the Sadharma we find in the Purana also. The king Harishchandra, when he said that I will give everything to the Guru, and the Guru said you must do this, you must do that. Once he had to burn the dead bodies, and in exchange he had to take some money. Then it so happened that one day he found that his queen, who became really very poor, and she was working under some Brahmin. Her son died, the king's son, Harishchandra's son, very pathetic. And the queen, Harishchandra, could recognize her, that my wife. And he could recognize his only son. But even then he was telling, I am sorry, my lady, I cannot allow you to burn this dead body of your son unless you pay something, because that is the charges. I have to keep my promise. I am here to collect those charges and allow the people to burn their deeds. I must have to charge you too. So these are the stories that teach us how to keep the promises. Even in the challenging moments also, people should have to keep their promises. And that is religion. Friends, all the time we criticize religion. Oh, religion is this, religion is ruining the country, religion, because of the religion, all these bloodsheds. That's true. Misuse of religion, misinterpretation of religion. But religion as such should not be blamed. It's an unique conception to going back to the root, to the God or the Brahman, as the Hindus they say, Vedantin they say. We have to go back to the root. Why? Because otherwise we will never get the complete satisfaction. The complete satisfaction is possible only after that. That today we have already, that every 3 months we are publishing one e-zine magazine that's called Chicago Calling. And that Chicago Calling, this time I have written that how to be happy, because there is a old year is going and the new year is coming. So this is the juncture. So this is the time that we should have to have happiness. We are all exchanging. So I have written an editorial, how to be happy. All of us should be happy. And there are so many types of happinesses are there, 4 types of happinesses. But last is the permanent happiness, and that is the source of the creation. So how it is possible? By purifying the mind. So this is if you go through that, you will find that. So keeping the promise is the religion. And another king, the Shivi, that's a beautiful story. Naturally, the king is supposed to give the protection. And he told that even if I die, I will give the protection. Whoever will come to me for the protection. Then the bird came to the king Shivi, and he told, see, there's a falcon chasing me. He wants to kill me. The Shivi told, no, I will give you the protection. Since you have come to me, and taken the refuge, I will give you the protection. The falcon came and told king, so that is my food. You have to give me some meat. The Shivi told, the king told, okay, I have other meats, I will give you to you. No. In exchange of that bird, if you like to save that bird, then I want your flesh. You have to cut it from your own body and just weigh that bird. And then whatever that weighing, your flesh should be given at the same balance. The Shibi thought the small little bird is no problem. Then the weighing machine, and the one side the little bird sat, and the Shibi was cutting from his own thigh, and from the hand he was putting his own flesh. But lo, the bird was going on increasing its weight. The little bird becoming so heavy. Shiva understood, the king understood that there is something very special in that bird, but still he knew that he is going to die because so much of flesh and blood was flowing. He himself was cutting. So that is the story. Then ultimately the falcon, it took the form of the Dharma, and that little bird was the Indra. So they had a challenge between them. The king Shibi is a righteous person, he will never break his promise. So just to test him, they were taking the form of a bird and the falcon. So these are the wonderful stories of our Puranas, only to teach religion. Religion is to keep the promises. Those who are what those things? The Swadharma means the responsibility that we accept after taking the oath, the promises. We, being the monks, we have taken oath, and that because of that oath, we are supposed to keep those promises. We cannot do this thing or that thing because we have taken the oath. As a sannyasi, samadarshitva, that is the ultimate. Not harming others, that is the thing that the sannyasi should do. So these are the things. As a grihasti, as a householder, you have also taken the promises. And also some professionals, you have taken the promises. Keeping the promises is religion. And Sri Ramakrishna, in a very simple word, he said, I gave my word. This is so important. See, that's why I always say this is Panchama Veda. Almost in every line we will find how the Lord Sri Ramakrishna, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, is teaching us a religion. Then he said, I'd be here at 3 o'clock, so I have come, but it is very hot. Yes, sir, you must have suffered very much. The devotees were fanning Sri Ramakrishna. Master, I have come here for Baburam and the younger Naren. Why haven't brought Purna? So he is asking the Master Mahasaya. Purna was a student of the Master Mahasaya. The Sri Ramakrishna is to love that boy because they are all very guileless, simple. So naturally, the God himself, the Sri Ramakrishna, is nothing but God. He used to like them. Why? Because pure mind. And what is pure mind? He himself will say. So he has come only to meet Baburam. Can you imagine? Baburam afterwards he became a sannyasi and of the Ramakrishna mission, our famous Swami Premananda Ji Maharaj. So when we address a Swami, we always, respected Swami, the senior respected, so we say revered or the Srimad Swami, like that, Swami Ji. And the Ji in Hindi is a respect that is given to the person. At least Srimad Swami or revered Swami, like that. This Swami, Srimad Swami Premananda Ji Maharaj, he was the direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and he was the first manager of the Ramakrishna mission headquarters, Belur Math. He was a very pure soul. Sri Ramakrishna used to love him so much. So he has come only to see that boy. The God is coming to see the devotee. So that and then young Naren. The Master Mahasaya is giving why he has not brought Purna. He doesn't like to come to a gathering of people. He is afraid. You might praise him before others, and his relatives might then hear about it. So Ramakrishna was very fond of Purna, the young boy, and he used to praise about, look at this boy, he is so good, so good. And that boy was afraid that it may be his relative, means that his father or the uncle, and they will be very angry. They never want that the boy should go and mix with these holy people because he may become a monk. This is very, very special, I should say, that our devotees, our people, they are so devoted, and they are also, they believe in the existence of God, and they have respect for the monks, but at the same time they won't allow their children to become monks or nuns. They will take them to take the blessings of the monks, but when you say, why don't you allow your son to become a monk or your daughter to become a nun? They'll say, no, that should not be. Why? Because to hold, that is the householder's mentality, means holding. So we hear also if you go to any the order of the monks, you will find they also have the property, they have the money, they have the cars, they have their rooms, their dresses, everything just anyone is having. What is the difference? Difference is true monk is not having any attachment to those things. Whenever he has been asked to go somewhere else, he will only pick up his own personal few books and one or two clothings, and then he will leave, without caring for the property, who is looking after next, and whether he is a good person or not, whether he will be able person or not, it doesn't matter at all. So that when one is not having the attachment for the things that he is with, it's called the monastic mentality. And those who are holding whatever the little thing that they are having, though it is mine, I cannot share, so that is called the householder's mentality. So obviously the son and the daughter is so close to the, naturally to the parents, they don't like to share, but they have the respect for the monks. So somebody's sons may become monk, then they will go and they will touch the feet and they will ask for the blessings. It goes on like that. But those who are having like the Babu Ram, who afterwards became Swami Premananda, his mother, of course, gave that son to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna wanted, she wanted to give some gift to Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna told, if you like to give me the gift, why don't you give your son to me? The mother accepted that. Of course, the son was also was very much akin to this monastic life, so he became the monk. The Sri Ramakrishna is told, that's true. I won't do it in the future. Well, I understand that you are giving Purna religious instruction. That is fine. Master Mahasaya was a very humble person. So naturally he immediately said, as a matter of fact, the same thing is written in one of the textbooks of the school. It says, with all thy soul love God above, and as thyself thy neighbor love. So that is as the Jesus we find in the Bible, love thy neighbor as thyself, etc. So that type of moral books were there in those days. They used to teach in the school, and it is very, very essential. Sometimes some of some administrations, they think it is not necessary. The students only should learn some of the science and the technology, the language, history, geography, that is sufficient. No moral things are necessary, no religious teachings are necessary. The moment we talk about the religious teaching, we think that is a dogmas. It is nothing like that. It is a high moral values. That in the beginning, long back, in the brahmacharis, in those schools of the rishis and the munis, they used to learn satyam bada, dharmam chara, swadhyaya apramada. Like this, they used to learn, you must tell the truth, never say lies. then you should not give up your study. Apramadaha. You should not give up your study. You must continue the study. Go on learning and learning. That is the human life. Then Matri Devo Bhava, Pitri Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. Along with that, Swami Vivekananda added Daridra Devo Bhava. So these are the ways when the human children are growing up, they learn this thing. And you may say, oh, brainwashing, they should get their own. What? The other thoughts will come. Where from they will learn? They will learn from the society. And if the society is teaching them, be selfish, only you leave yourself, for that if you have to cut the throat of others, do that, they will learn like that. And then you will go on crying, oh, what has happened to the society? There is no one, no good people, no good thought. Because these are the things are very important. What type of teachings we are giving when they are children. So by that time, they are learning. And what they are learning, I must respect my parents, my teacher who is teaching me, and the people around me who are helping me. Even the poor person, he is there. I should have compassion for. This is the way the human society grow. And that is called culture. This is the wonderful culture that we find over here also. They always teach to help others. Particularly, they are so compassionate for the animals and then for the poor. And now this is the Christmas time. We find that some people, they are leaving so many different foods and other things just at our gate. Because we are church, so obviously people are thinking, after collecting that, we will give it to the poor people. They themselves cannot go, so they are leaving that. People sending donation. So this is the way all the time the human society helping each other, they grow. So unless and until the basic things are there, why we talk about religion? Religion is the last condition. That is the ultimate maturity in the human soul. That is called religion. Religion is nothing but love and unselfishness. Religion is nothing but keeping the promises. Then whatever the promises I have taken for the betterment of the others, I must keep. So these we are, see, only half a page we are reading from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and we are finding so many wonderful teachings from that. The Master Moshe is telling, if their guardians are displeased with such teachings, it cannot be helped. The Purna as a student, so he used to learn from the Sri Ma. So Sri Ma told, not that I am teaching, it is in their the study, so all obviously they must have to learn this. If the guardians are not liking even this, I can't help. Then Sri Ramakrishna is commenting, no doubt many things like that are written in those books, but the authors themselves do not assimilate what they write. Friends, this is also very important. For the religion, we go on reading so many books, for different books, and many people nowadays publishing books. They are educated people, they have the command over the language, and they have learned, and after the retirement, all through they were something else and some other profession, and suddenly after the retirement they write a commentary on Bhagavad Gita and then publish it and then force people to read that. It's good, nothing wrong. They are utilizing their time for a good thing, but at the same time, have they followed that themselves? Otherwise, it may be a very good reading, but those words that we are reading from a book, the typed words, if the person who has written has not practiced, will not help you. That is really in the particularly spiritual life. Only those books, only those teachings we should read from those books which those people have already realized. Then it is That's why the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna's gospel is so important. Whatever he said, he realized those things. Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, no doubt, many things like that are written in those books, spiritual book. Of course, the science book, technology, medicine, it's okay. But spiritual book means you have to realize that first. But the authors themselves do not assimilate what they write. This power of assimilation comes from associating with the holy men. People listen to instructions only when it is given by a sadhu who has truly renounced the world. They are not much impressed by the writings or the words of a mere scholar. The scholars, they write, they give, they talk, but some people are very fascinated to go and listen to them, and they are not interested to go to the monks, those who are really living their life. Maybe they are not very good speakers. Maybe they cannot speak in that fashion, that way, that impressive way the other speakers are doing. It doesn't matter at all. So we have seen Swami Gambhirananda ji, then not that he was a great the speaker, orator, but when he used to speak, those who are truly, they wanted to listen the spiritual talk, that was so wonderful. And Swami, the Bireshwarananda ji Maharaj, Srimad Swami Bireshwarananda ji, Bhuteshananda ji Maharaj, I am telling these names, those who are associated with the Ramakrishna organization, you know, they were all great, the presidents of the order, and we have seen them, how simple they were. Not great orators. And they used to tell in a simple, very simple way, mostly quoting from Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada, Swamiji, Upanishad and Vedanta. But their words used to touch the heart. So that we want has to read and listen to them. So that is the way only we can develop our spiritual life. Again I am telling, it's not about the other subjects, but only spiritual life, only spiritual people, those who have truly followed those instructions in their life. Why? Because it is so difficult to practice. Other things are very easy. A doctor, a scientist, a technician, or an administrator, they know their subject. An accountant, a lawyer, they know their subject very well. But not that they have to control their mind from the attractions of the same subjects. No. But the spiritual life, it doesn't matter whether you have studied in this university or that university, it doesn't matter at all. Whether you are having so many the certificates, no, it does not matter at all. Have you practiced those things? And what is that? Could you control your passion? Could you control your mind? Could you withdraw your mind from the sense objects? Those are the qualities of a spiritual person. So this is the way we have to understand, and Sri Ramakrishna is giving us the directions, and he is telling only when it gives by a sadhu. Sadhu means those who have purified their mind. And what is mind? Mind are the impressions that we collect through 5 organs. Our eyes, our nose, our ears, and they go out and collect different things and put it in the mind, and impression is there. So by that, mind is constantly going on, the waves after waves. When you control that mind or transform that mind, as a yogi, they control. As a jnani, they transform. So that is the way you have to purify the mind. The Shankaracharya is giving great stress on the purification of the mind. It must. Then the Yoga Vasishta, the Guru Vasishta, he is using very strong word, Mano Nasha. You have to kill the mind. The mind means those thoughts of the worldly things. associated with the world. And then only you are pure. So God and the world, thoughts of the world, impure. And when you can turn the mind towards God, pure. But that turning, that process is so difficult. And when a person is giving advices on that and not practicing himself, it is of no use. Those words, his words, will not carry any weight. He who has truly renounced the world, they are not much impressed by the scholar. And then Sri Ramakrishna, as is his own, he is giving an example. Suppose a physician has a big jar of molasses by his side, and he asked his patient not to eat molasses. The patient won't pay much attention to his advice. The practice before advice. This is the base word of the spiritual life. The spiritual teachers must practice themselves first, and then they should advise. But majority of the people are so eager to advise that there's sometimes when the young people are coming to become monastic, then there's a story. Then when you come and begin your life, you have to do a very menial type of work, all physical, menial, and by that way, slowly, that maybe you are from a rich family, but you have to live a very ordinary way, the simple way, so that the ego should be the crushed and go away, like that, the training. Then there's a story. The one young boy came and he told, I like to become a monk, but what I am supposed to do? Then they showed, look at those people, they are young novices, they are looking after the cows, those they are cooking, they are cleaning the vessels, and all these menial work that you have to sweep the floor, clean this, that. Then he saw a person sitting under a tree and giving the sermon, and a few people sitting before him listening to the talk. He said, wow, who is he and what he is doing? Then he said, he is the guru in charge of this ashrama and he is giving the spiritual teaching. Then that boy told, oh, that suits me. I can go and give the teachings to the others. In the beginning itself, without any practice. So that is called ego, and in the spiritual life, no growth can come unless you practice. Well, how do you find Purna? Now he is asking about that boy. How do you find Purna? Does he go into ecstatic mood? No, I haven't noticed in him any outer sign of such emotion. One day I told him those words of yours. What words? You told us that if a man is a small receptacle, he cannot control spiritual emotion. But if he is a large one, he experiences intense emotion without showing it outwardly. You said that a big lake does not become disturbed when even an elephant enters into it. But when an elephant enters a pool, one sees tremendous confusion and the water splashes on the banks. Master Purna will not show this emotion outwardly. He hasn't that kind of temperament. His other signs are good. What do you say? Now, friends, when we are practicing spirituality, obviously any practice, any action has its result. So when you are practicing spirituality, you get the result. But some people, after seeing something, a little joy within, they become so overwhelmed, they go on telling people, I have seen this, I have seen that, this happened to me, there. And there they stop because they think that is sufficient for them. There, the small, we can say, the content, so they cannot take much of it. The spiritual life means the experience is completely transforming yourself. So obviously you have to have the patience. So many experiences come, and sometimes it is a tremendous, very fearful things start, the thoughts start coming in your dream, in your thoughts, so you have to go on praying to God. Tremendous temptations start coming. Different people will come and start praising you and giving you the gift and inviting you to different places. By that way also, slowly you go away. So these different temptations are there. It's as because it's a very slippery path. In one of the Upanishads it says, Shurashadhara Nishita Durattaya Durgam Pathastat Kavayo Vadanti. It's like walking on the razor's edge. It's so sharp. If you just make a wrong step and you are done. So that is why, and then Nishita Durattaya. You have to go on practicing. You do not know when you are reaching ultimately to the goal. In this life, maybe in the next life, maybe any time. Then the life of Lord Buddha, who could remember 500 births of his own life. After the Buddhahood, after that knowledge, he remembered those, and he told about that to his disciples. So they have recorded it, Jataka stories. He went on taking different type of lives, but in every life, whether it was a bird or an animal, or the ordinary human being, the prince, a king, every time, constantly he was going on towards the righteousness, following the righteousness, and so ultimately he became Buddha, the Jnani, the man of knowledge. So Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning about the Purna he saw, and he is mentioning the Purna will show his emotion outwardly, will not show his emotion outwardly. He hasn't that kind of temperament. His other signs are good. What do you say? Other signs are good. So showing emotion is one thing. And what are the other signs? It is love and unselfishness. Mainly unselfishness, because you are not attached to this world, so you don't need anything. But at the same time, you love each and every one because you are unselfish. So these are the two, constantly it goes, and that is the sign of spiritual growth. The more you are developing unselfishness, the more you are becoming the man of love, a person of love, loving each and every one. That is the sign of spirituality. And the Purna was having that. Mere bright, then the Master Mahasaya, he noticed, he said, his eyes are very bright and prominent. Maybe the eyes were good. Now the Master, Sri Ramakrishna, is mentioning, mere bright eyes are not enough. So the physical, sometimes some people are so good looking. Once I went to give a talk in Bombay. They took me to a reformatory. So the people, they were there, they were underground people. They are not ordinary the pickpocketers or thieves. Oh my God, over there I saw some so good-looking boys. So fair complexion, big eyes, and the beautiful hair, and well-built. But they went into that dark region. So they came to me after the lecture. They came to pay respect to me. Then one young boy, I don't know maybe the age, but maybe 20, 22 like that at the time. Then said, I asked him why. So why you are in this group? Then he showed the forehead, as you always say, because of my past karma. So he showed his forehead. I felt so bad for him. And I told them that I will pray, at least coming 1 month, I will pray for you. I did that. So these people, they were so good looking, so well built, that suddenly something happened. Why? Because of the bad karmas that force us to take over there. The thoughts become like that. You feel to do like that. Then afterwards, when you are lamenting and crying, it won't help. So the good looking only won't help. The Master Sri Ramakrishna, he is mentioning, mere bright eyes are not enough. The eyes of a godly person are different. Did you ask him what he felt after meeting me? Master M. Yes, sir. We talked about that. He has been telling me that the last 4 or 5 days, whenever he thinks of God or repeats His holy name, tears flow from his eyes and the hair on his body stand on end. Such is his joy. The haripulation, when a person feels joy, that haripulation, that Purna was having. So Master Sri Ramakrishna very happy. The master and aim were silent a few moments. Then the aim said, he is waiting. The master, who? Purna. Perhaps he has been standing at the door of his house. When any of us passes that way, he will come running and salute us. The master, he appreciated that. The young little boy, he has his, the previous life he was so a holy person, and in this life the family that he has taken birth, maybe at that moment they were not liking. He was short-lived afterwards, as we know, but he used to see the holy people and to feel attracted to them. He will be coming. Sri Ramakrishna was resting, reclining against a bolster. Aim had brought with him a 12-year-old boy who was a student in his school. His name was Kirod. M is a nice boy. He finds great joy in spiritual talk. Master smiling. He has eyes like a deer's. The boy saluted Sri Ramakrishna, touching his feet. Then he gently stroked the master's feet. Master to him, Rakhal is staying at home now. Poltu and Binod were seated in front of Sri Ramakrishna. Master to Poltu, smiling, what did you say to your father? To Aim. He answered back when his father told him not to come here. In those days, it was impossible, even in our childhood days, talking before the father or arguing with him, unthinkable. In our society, in our country, nowadays things have changed. So Poltu did it. So Sri Ramakrishna, he was wondering, how could he do that? What did you say? Poltu, I said to him, yes, I go to him. Is that wrong? The master and Aim laughed. I shall say more if necessary. He was a young boy. He was saying like that. Master to Aim, smiling. No. Should he go so far? Aim, no, sir. He should not go too far. Sri Ramakrishna laughs. So when you were talking with your father, you should not. Sri Ramakrishna giving that teaching, and the Master Mashai also, that you should have respect, but at the same time you have to convince your father that I am going to him and this is nothing wrong. The Master to Binod, how are you? Why haven't come to Dakshineshwar? Binod, I almost came, but then I was afraid of falling ill again. I have been ill and am not doing well. Come to Dakshineshwar with me, Master said Sri Ramakrishna. The air is very good there. You'll recover. The younger Narendra entered the room. Sri Ramakrishna was going out to wash his hands and face. The younger Naren followed him with a towel. He wanted to pour water for the master. Aim was with them. These young people, they used to come to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, but Master Mashai was the main inspirer. The Sri Master Mashai, whenever he used to find that a good-natured boy, he used to inspire him to come and have the blessings of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. The Naren, this is two, the young, and Swami Vivekananda was also Naren. the Narendra and Naren, these two, Master, it's very hot today. Aim, yes, sir. Master, how do you live in that small room of yours? Doesn't it get very hot on the upper floor? The Aim, yes, sir, it gets very hot. Friends, many of you know that the ancestors, I think the grandsons of the Master Mahashaya, they are also so good. They gave that whole building where the Master Mahashaya lived and composed the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. They have handed over that property to Ramakrishna Mission. And the Ramakrishna Mission accepted that property, though it is, you have to go, those who have visited that place, you have to, in those days the North Calcutta buildings were like that, you have to go through a very narrow lane, but still the Ramakrishna Mission has accepted and they have made a beautiful ashrama there. Our monks are living, and if you go over there, even the mother, Ma Sharadamani Devi, went over there. And the room where the Master Mahashaya used to live, the staircase, oh my God, how he used to go up in that. It's a wooden staircase and very steep. Even some good people also, it is so difficult to climb. But they used to do like that, going upward and sitting. And the small room he used to live. So the simple living and high thinking, that was the philosophy. And they got the blessings of the God himself. That is that the Master Mahashaya, Sri Ramakrishna, he visited that place, he knew, so he is inquiring from him how he lived. Master, besides, your wife has been suffering from brain trouble. You should keep her in a cool room. Aim, yes, sir. I have asked her to sleep downstairs. Sri Ramakrishna returned to the drawing room and took his seat. Master to Aim, why didn't come to Dakshineshwar last Sunday? Master Mahashaya, sir, there was no one else at home. My wife was not well, and so no one was there to look after her. Sri Ramakrishna was on his way in a carriage to Devendra's house to Nimu Goswami Lane. The younger Naren, Aim, and one or two other devotees were with him. The master felt great yearning for Purna. He began to talk of the young disciple. Master to Aim, a great soul, or how could he make me do japa for his welfare? But Purna doesn't know anything about it. When the Purna was not very, I think physically also, and he was not very happy because their parents, their family people never allowed him to go to Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna did japa for him. So that's the great thing. Aim and the other devotees were amazed at these words. Master, it would have been nice if you had brought him here with you today. Why didn't you? Seeing the younger Naren laugh, the master and the other devotees laughed too. The master said to him, laughing and pointing to Naren, look at him. Look how naive he looks when he laughs, as if he knew nothing. He never thinks of these three things: land, wife, and money. God cannot be realized unless the mind is totally free from lust and gold. Friends, this is a very, very important teaching. Those who like to realize God, for them, the three things, Jamin, Joru, Chandi, or sometimes they say Rupaya. In Hindi, Jamin means the land, Joru the wife, and Chandi or the gold or Rupaya means money. So these three things that attracts to the worldly life, and once the mind is not completely free from that, it's very difficult to realize God. So Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning the carriage proceed to Devendra's house, Once Ramakrishna had said to Devendra at Dakshineshwar, I have been thinking of visiting your house one day. The Devendra had replied, the same idea came to my mind today, and I have come here to ask you that favor of you. You must grace my house this Sunday. But the master had said, you have a small income, don't invite many people. The carriage hire will also run a big amount. This is the tradition. When a holy person is visiting somebody's house, that householder is supposed to pay for his passage money. Friends, we will stop over here today, and the next Wednesday, another Wednesday is there in this December, we will complete this chapter, this portion at least. And January, February, we won't have any classes. Then again in the March, we will start the class. So next Wednesday again, we will study from this page.
So the first question is from Sanita Banerjee. The first question, why sometimes sorrows are arising in our mind? Please tell us what to do. So now.
Samhita, the sorrows means sometimes a hidden desire is there. So sometimes we are not aware. In a conscious mind, conscious level, it is not there. So we wonder why it is. But in the subconscious mind, in a very subtle way, some desires are there. Sometimes if we don't have the friends, we can't exchange, we can't share our mind, that is also that sorrow comes. Sometimes some of the fulfilling thing, like like the babies, we want a child, we like to talk to the baby. Even if we don't want a child, at least playing with the babies, that also gives great solace. So once it is a sorrow, that means there is a desire which is not fulfilled. So every individual has to observe the mind, what is there. So if you are closing your eyes, sitting alone, observing your mind, and suddenly you will find in a flash, these are the things tormenting you. These are the things which you are not getting, and so you are not happy, so that sorrow is coming. So you have to study your own mind, and you can find out that, fulfill that, or pray to overcome that first. Second, don't worry about all those. It's the mind's nature to sometimes go down and to go up. So don't worry about that. Continue the practice of spirituality, maintain your routine regularly, that will make you happy. Thank you.
Shomin Das is saying, your voice is so soothing, it heals the inner soul. That's his first comment, Maharaj. And second, he has a question, is it necessary to take Diksha to get into religious and spiritual life? If yes, please guide me.
Somen.
Shomin.
Yeah, Somen, that is, thank you for, you liked my voice. But anyway, that our Diksha is really, really necessary. For everything we need someone to teach us. When we start walking, the mothers or the aunties, they help us to stand and walk. And when we learn cycling, maybe if the car driving, anything in the life, we need a teacher. And why not for spiritual life? We do not know what is there. So a guide is necessary. I would suggest, if you like the Sri Ramakrishna Vivekananda ideology, Mahasharada Muni philosophy, then you better contact some Ramakrishna mission nearby, and I don't know in which town you are. So go and nearby ashrama, talk to them. Then slowly, if you come in acquaintance with them, and if you have read the biography of Sri Ramakrishna Mahasharada Swamiji, then slowly you will get the guidance from our great teachers over there. The revered President Maharaj, revered Vice President Maharaj, they are there. They will give the, if you are from India, you will get the initiation. If you are in Europe or America, the nearby ashram center head, he can give you the initiation. But initiation is necessary for spiritual life.
Sujya Laha is asking, please tell us a little bit about Suddha Bhakti. How do I practice it?
The Suddha Bhakti is the ultimate devotional stage. What is Shuddha? Pure. What is purity? Only God. Again and again you will find, if you are following my talks, there are two things, God and His creation. The creation means this world. And what is this world? Only 5 things. Rupa, Rasa, Shabda, Sparsha, Gandha. The form is there, name is there, taste is there, smell is there, so like that. So if these 5 things attracts our mind, then naturally it is attracting Ashuddha, that is impure. Nothing wrong in it, that is natural, but you have to go on praying to God, God, I don't want your creation, I want only you. That is called Suddha Bhakti. If you go on praying to God, I only want you, my mother or my father. So that is called pure bhakti, and that is the Shuddha Bhakti, and that is the way one should practice. Thank you.
Sima Biswas is asking, why today's children are so selfish, they put their parents in old home.
Sima, yeah, we can't just label them as the selfish, because you know that socio-economic condition is such. I know many of the Indian the boys and the girls who are living over here and in the Europe, they regularly are praying for their mother, for their parents, and they torment so much when they can't go there. But the socio-economical situation is such, you have to go out, you have to live somewhere else, then how to? So the best way nowadays, even here, the Indian parents nowadays, they don't depend on the children. The American society, it's not European, American society, the moment the son is attending 18 years, he's supposed to go out. And they will teach in such a way, you have to teach him driving, and he should know how to handle the bank account, this credit cards and all that. Then he should go and join in the college hostel. He should adjust with others. Then when he is attending the university or working, he should have a separate apartment for himself, maybe very nearby, but still should not live with the parents. That is not good. In this society, they live like that. In our society, we used to live together. Some good and some bad effect is also there. But the parents also should slowly develop this temperament, that why should we always be depending on our children? Whatever the earnings all through our life, some portion we should keep for us, so that when we are the elderly, some caretaking home we should go, but we should live freely. Sometimes we are going and meeting the children, inviting them or visiting their houses. Live a free life, that is also good. So that is also, we have to think in that way, but it changes, that as because the society is changing, the mentality, temperament also changes. We cannot say completely it is bad. We cannot blame that they are all selfish. Not like that. The good, bad, all there. I have read some of the newses, the terrible newses, that those who are living with the parents over there, they are sometimes betraying their parents. That is also there. So the closeness, not all the time that develops the goodness. That is teaching, it depends on the teaching. For parents should also be independent, and the children also. So the relation will be very good. So, okay then friends, thank you. So let us say You know that this is the our new Chicago calling. It has a beautiful writing about the cover page. There's a time. You can see that it is showing the picture of a clock, what is the time and how the time merges to infinity. And some other things are also there. The lectures that was given by Amaranandaji, that is also here. Sarvasthanandaji's lecture. Whatever I said about the Bhagavata, the two portions are also there. So like this way, it's a nice book. If you can pick up if when you come over here, or you can just order the $3. And we have published a beautiful this calendar. It's a very good calendar. One calendar. So this will be like this, you know. Oh no, there's no picture here. No, there. So next Wednesday I will show you. In the calendar all the events are there. At the same time, this time the theme is very wonderful. The theme is the women of America, the American women, whom Swami Vivekananda felt as the mother, sister and friend, and they helped Swamiji. So one of our volunteers collected all this information with the pictures that is there, very worth keeping. So we can also say in that it's a $10 or $12 maybe. So these are the two announcements. Thank you, friends. Let us say this mantra and then we conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidhyam tam Rama Krishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.